again there, everyone, and welcome into the Adam Jones podcast from the Baltimore Banner, thebaltimorebanner.com. I'm, of course, Jerry Coleman. He, of course, is Adam Jones, the former five-time MLB All-Star. Today, in episode number 9, AJ, we'll be joined by former Orioles GM Dan Duquette on the show as the Orioles come home from the winter meetings with a good suntan. Not much else in terms of marquee names. Adam and I, speaking of baseball, we're going to talk about the debate. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to debate the absurdity of these long-term contracts. More have been given out during this offseason. They never seem to work. The Ravens, plenty to discuss about the purple and black as they continue their AFC North tour with a short week and a question about quarterback. They did gain a running back, and that's a strength of that team. Adam will rant about things, well, getting out of control on Twitter. When are they not? But we have some people out there trying to be first instead of being right. Pay attention, John Heyman. We may mention your name a little later. More on Adam's travels as he is in Qatar for the World Cup. That's coming up after another exotic trip he took. He'll discuss that. We'll salute our Baltimore Banner Varsity Athlete of the Week. Love that shirt. Plus, we'll deliver and react to our best social media correspondences in our socially speaking portion. As always, we're brought to you by our friends at Jack Daniels. There's lots of ways to make whiskey. There's only one way to make Jack Daniels. Make it count. Please drink responsibly. Jack Daniels. Also, Be More Around Town. They have the ultimate all-inclusive pregame purple tailgate experience before every home and away game. Boy, did they take over Pittsburgh. Head to BeMoreAroundTown.com and learn more. And the good folks at the Wyman Company, always thanks to Dennis Wyman for his support. And G-Leaf Medical Cannabis, hit gleaf.com. Like how I said, hit. Medical cannabis is for qualified Maryland patients only. A reminder, if you guys are enjoying this podcast, check out the Baltimore Banner at thebaltimorebanner.com. They have a special. They cover the Orioles, the Ravens, the Terps, and, of course, the entire Baltimore region as far as news goes. But for our listeners, there is a $1 6 months digital access special. All you need to do is go to thebaltimorebanner.com/AJ. That's thebaltimorebanner.com/AJ. 6 months for just $1. All right, let's begin with our featured guests. We are lucky enough and gracious enough to catch up with the former Orioles VP and executive VP of operations, GM. He had so many titles. He is the one and only Dan Duquette. Dan, appreciate you taking the time. I got to ask you, first of all, great to catch up with you and see you. But
likewise, good to see you guys.
Now, I didn't when I heard that you were going to be our guest this week from a little birdie, I was thinking, why would Dan Duquette want to come on with Adam Jones? Here's a guy who declined to be traded by you during his final season in Baltimore. And I got to know, how much did that tick you off when you told him he was being traded to the Phillies and he said no?
Well, no, I, first of all, Adam Jones and I go way, way, way back, okay? And see, Adam is an aficionado of Amherst, and that's why I have it in the background. You see that, Adam?
Yeah.
Yes, I see that. I see
Adam's
that.
Father-in-law, Gene, was a great, great football player at Amherst. And one of my favorite pictures that I have is a picture of Gene at homecoming. And then, of course, Adam and I have a picture of Adam at Gold Glove Awards ceremony, right? When Manny and Adam and J.J. Hardy, they all got their gold gloves. But anyway, like as far as like Adam rejecting the trade to Philadelphia, I thought it was a pretty good deal, but Adam wanted to stay. He had earned the right to stay on the basis of 5 years, 10 years experience in 5 years. So it was really up to him whether he wanted to go or stay. That was a personal choice he made. We tried to make him comfortable and his family comfortable and going up the road to Philly. And those guys in Philly, they liked him. Obviously, they had him in Baltimore, right? But Adam chose to stay. So that's the way it goes.
Yeah, there was a presumption that you guys were all ticked off behind the scenes and would never speak to him again.
Well, obviously that's not true, Jerry.
No.
Obviously
that's what happens when you assume.
So anyway, how you doing, Adam?
I'm always good. I'm out traveling the world and just enjoying retired life and just living. I wanted to tell a funny story. And no one knew this. No one knows this. I think you know it, and only people that were in my batting cage group know this. Every day you'd come, for some odd reason, I don't know why you came during my group, out of the right field tunnel. Every single day. And every time during my group, when you came, the entire walk, you'd be dodging balls. Because I said, if anybody can hit you, I give them $1,000. So everybody in that whole round, before you got to the dugout, would be inside out and the hell out of balls trying to get you. And our best year was when it was me, Cruz, and one other guy, me, Cruz, and one other hitter, and we just had such good bat control, and we was trying to pelt you so bad. And
so you had a bounty on the GM.
Had a bounty on the GM.
The guy that gave me the long-term contract, the $85 million contract. But anyway, that's good fundamentals, man. That's why you had such a great year, because you was hitting the ball the other way like you were supposed to.
Stay inside the ball. You say, hey, look, Adam, go the other way. You don't feel, man.
So no one ever won 1,000. No one ever hit him?
Nobody ever got him. He realized and started in spring training too, because you'd enter through the fence.
Yeah,
so we was like, okay,
I come through.
Same thing. Hey, as soon as $1,000 if you get him. Like just start
I don't think anybody ever came close, man.
No, we was aiming for you, but it turned into some really good swings. So it's always a practice.
That's a good way to start BP.
Is it? With free agency and winter meetings just ending, as a GM, obviously, and multiple teams, how do you approach the winter meetings, especially with your agenda, opposed to what you can actually and what is actually accomplished at the winter meetings?
Well, the thing with the winter meetings, right? That's the marquee event of the off season, right? And you got to have your plan going into the off season before you get to the winter meetings. The winter meetings is kind of a culmination of the free agent market, right? A lot of times the markets don't go and the players aren't signed right at the winter meetings. But, if you're in a major market, right, if you're in Boston, New York, LA, you want to do something that gets the attention of your fans while you're down there. Actually, if you're at any market and you want to be organized going in there. But, I think the best way to go into the offseason is, one, identify the holes you have in your lineup. On your team, and then figure out the ranking of the players that you have in free agency, and then to call out the list based upon, the information you get, your talks with the agents, the guys that show some interest in you, and players that would fill the holes on your roster, or opportunities that you could give to players to come to your place. You got to identify all those ahead of time, and then just put them right in order and go right down the list. But you got to know who you like. And then, it's kind of like dating, right? You got to go out and you got to do the first date, and, then you got to go do the first dance, and then you go out to dinner. But, by the time you get to the winter meetings, you should be out to dinner and matched up with some of the people that you want to sign and add to your ball club for the coming year. And then I'm a big proponent of that Rule 5 draft, right? You ought to be taking somebody in that Rule 5 draft. I know the Orioles took somebody this year. There was like 16 players total taken in that draft. Ryan Flaherty was a Rule 5 draft, right? Yeah, and he had a good career. And let's see,
Santander
was. Nelson Courts was a Rule 5 draft. So there's some good players out there, and sometimes those players are under the radar, but you got to be adding to your team, not just in free agency, but you got to be looking at adding through trade, the Rule 5 draft, signing minor league free agents, signing major league free agents. And you got to have a pretty good idea of what you like in each of those areas going in there.
Okay. So going into it, everyone has a wish list, obviously.
Right.
And put yourselves in the Orioles position now where, they got money to spend. We don't know.
They got money, whether they're going to spend it or not.
Exactly. They have a fresh team that's ready to make that next step. They got talent. Are they a year or two away? Who knows? How does a wish list work when you don't necessarily have the funds of other teams? Because, again, playing in Baltimore, our market is not the same as New York and Boston and Chicago and LA. How does that work when it's like I want this player, and but I know this team will offer him $20 million more easily. Like, how does that work, especially talking to ownership in that fashion?
Well, I think you got to know, have a pretty good idea of what you have available, what the timeline is for your team to be competitive, right? Because your team's not going to be great or competitive every year, And then you got to have an idea of what the market's going to do, and what your fan base can support. The type of player that you can bring in there. And you have to take all those things into account. When I was in Montreal, we didn't participate in the free agent market, other than we looked around for the guys that had problems, and we knew that we could, provide an oasis for them to resurrect their career. So we signed some really good players like Dennis Martinez, for example, right? El Presidente. He had fallen into hard times. We signed Pascual Perez. We signed Oil Can Boyd, right? Give me your tire, you're poor. But those guys were all good major league pitchers, but they had fallen on some tough times, and Montreal was a good place to go back and to rekindle the value of your career. So, I just think you got to, know who you are, know what your resources are, and spend your time in that area of the market where you think you can add somebody to your team. It doesn't. When I was in Baltimore, I said, well, we don't have that much money this year. We got to let the major market teams, we got to let all the sharks feed on the big fish in the water. And then, we'll come around and, we'll see who else is swimming there. And, that works out. Adam, what you were talking about, the value, you have to have an idea of what the player can do and what you're willing to pay, right? That's the value proposition, right? How much money am I going to pay this player? What is that player going to contribute to my team? And that's the value proposition that you have to look at to size up every player contract that you're going to sign, for your team, right? Bring it into your market. So all those things you got to take care of before you go to the winter meeting.
And Dan, I know you've worked for several ball clubs. I want to focus on the Orioles in terms of the leeway you had when it came to spending. Did you have to run everything by the Angelos family? Did they give you a budget that they had to approve? Or could you act on your own? And what's going on right now with the family, obviously, the infighting, I don't know how much you feel that's controlling the finances and what they can and can't do as well.
Yeah, I don't know too much about what's going on with the family now. The club obviously set out on a rebuild towards the end of my tenure there, and they're continuing the rebuild. And the club looks like it's very competitive. Every situation is different. In Boston, we went out and we built up a pipeline of players, right? We didn't give away draft picks the first 5 years I was there because we wanted to bring in a bunch of young players. We were very aggressive on the international scouting market because we knew we could add a significant talent to our team by being active in the international scouting market. So like in Boston, we chose not to go into the free agent market in any kind of real meaningful way until we had actually built up the player talent in the organization. After we did that for a few years, then we went out and we got after it in free agency. With the Orioles, when I came in there, it was very clear that we had a stable of good players: Adam, Matt Wieters, Chris Davis, J.J. Hardy. I mean, we had some good players, particularly up the middle of the diamond, and we needed a pitching staff. So when I got there, I said, look, we got to go out and get some pitching. So we went out, we signed some pitching, and we identified some players and pitchers that we thought, and that was able to get the team turned around. So, but in Baltimore, we increased our major league payroll, I think, every year I was there until the last year, because the players did good. The fans came out and supported it. The revenues increased, and we were able to take that money back and reinvest that in the team. during that competitive window to try to win the pennant. Unfortunately, we didn't quite fulfill the goal, but we had 5 really good years there from 12 to 16. And because the fans they had this pent up demand for a winning team, that we were able to fill the ballpark. Adam, to his credit, showed great leadership there, and not just on the field by posting every day, but by being available and supporting in the community. The impact and living in the community, and the impact that he had on the community in the inner city in Baltimore was legendary. But we did a lot of things well, but having the players involved in the team, having the team being good, and then having the fans connect with the players like they did with Adam and his group, and that was a lot of fun.
What about where the team is right now in terms? I mean, you're responsible for a lot of guys on the current roster. They came home from the winter meetings really with not much. They pick up a pitcher in Kyle Gibson. They decline Jordan Lyles' option. I guess save $1 million there. What are they going to do in terms of trying to formulate a pitching staff and be competitive from your perspective?
Well, they have a pretty good pitching staff. Okay, they're a much improved ball club. And then when you get a load of those 2 top draft picks there, DL Hall and Grayson Rodriguez this year, you're going to see some serious talent. Okay, you look at the stuff that DL Hall has. He's got among the best stuff in the league in terms of the quality of his pitches. He's just going to have to throw it over the plate a little bit more consistently. And Grayson Rodriguez, he's the best pitching prospect I think the Orioles have seen since Mike Mussina. This kid's got it all. So if those guys can continue to develop, the Orioles already have a pretty good ball club, and you add a couple of talented guys like that to your staff, you got a chance to do some serious damage. The AL East is tough, but the Orioles got a pretty good foundation there of young ball players. Look what Cedric Mullins did. I mean, the guy was 30-30. I don't think anybody's ever done that in the history of the club.
Is it a coincidence you keep mentioning guys that you brought in?
Did he come in? Did I mention that we drafted Cedric Mullins twice before we signed him?
Grayson Rodriguez, DL Hall. I mean, I just want to make sure we got everyone in on the current roster.
Well, it'd be a lot easier if you did it, Jerry. It would save.
Well, I mentioned Mountcastle and Hayes, and I mean, obviously you're responsible for Trey Mancini, and congrats to Trey for winning it all.
Yeah, there's some good ball players there. I'm glad to see the fans are re-engaged, and that ball club should be pretty good for a period of time.
We all know when that stadium is filled, it's incredible. But Dan, what's new with you? I mean, you disappear off the map. You're somewhere in the Northeast, just tucked away in the mountains and somewhere in the Adirondacks. What's new with you?
I wanted to show you. Hey, here's my man Colt. Okay,
that's my guy right there.
There's my man Cole. He's friends with your boy, but he's playing ball down in. He plays for the Cape Fear Hurricanes down in North Carolina.
Awesome.
And Brody's doing good too. Brody's like
that's 14, my guy. Please tell him I said hi.
Yeah, I will. Brody's got a real solid coach, guy that was at UNC Wilmington. Man, he's making them lift weights, and they got mental skills drills, Jonesy. In the morning before school. Yeah.
But anyway, I remember when we brought in that mental skills coach.
Oh, yeah. Well, that didn't work out for you, but no. But the overall work of the team and the organization was pretty good.
Hey, Dan.
Anyway,
go ahead.
What am I doing? I'm doing consulting work. I got a couple of clients. Couple in Major League Baseball. I did some work this year for the White Sox, and then also I got to show you this. We got this substance called Chalkless, which is a type of sand. And if you go to Twitter, it's @Chalkless Grip. And I represented them to Major League Baseball. We did a study last year in the Arizona Fall League to help with the grip, to enhance the grip on the baseball. and I'm still working on that. That shows a lot of promise to address the issue of the ball slipping out of the pitcher's hands, right, with all these hit batters. And you remember when Brian Mattis got busted for using suntan lotion and rosin down in Florida.
In Florida, oh my
goodness. Yeah, it's
like
everybody in the league's using a foreign substance. They bust our guy, for using suntan lotion and rosin. And so anyway, Buck and I we went to the grievance hearing. And we brought some of the balls that they used in Japan that have a much better grip, right? So I mean, this is an issue that's near and dear to my heart because I think Major League Baseball needs to find an issue to it. And at Chalkless, I'm working with them. We did a study in AA this past year, and we're going to try to do something again next year with the Atlantic League. But that's the most interesting client that I have. I did have some large institutional clients. I did some work for the state of Maryland. We delivered some critical PPE that they needed. So that was a good project that was near and dear to my heart.
Nice.
And you'll see a lot of games in the Cape Cod League. Hopefully I'll get another opportunity in baseball. I mean, come on, these kids, they cost a lot of money, right?
My goodness.
This guy Cole, him and Brody, you ought to see those guys eat just the groceries for the week.
Exactly.
Anyway, I got to keep working.
All right. Speaking of contracts, before we let you go, we're about to debate these long-term deals, which are still being given out. We just saw a couple of 11-year deals. To me, they never work out. I'm not going to bring up Chris Davis and beat a bad story or beat a horse to death, but your thoughts on these long-term deals, is there going to be a ceiling at some point?
Well, baseball has effectively run very well with that it's not a salary cap but the luxury tax, right? And the teams that operate at the high end of the market, they wouldn't be paying out the money unless the money's not coming in, right? I mean, the salaries are really a function of the revenues. And if the salaries are going up, that means that there's additional revenues coming into the sport, wherever they're coming in from. Now, guaranteeing these deals for a long, long time under the basic agreement, and the luxury tax, I think teams are smoothing out the impact on the luxury tax by paying these players over a long period of time, so that the salaries don't impact them from year to year, right? So that they have the flexibility from year to year. Now, do the clubs expect the players to perform at that level over the entire term of the contract? I seriously doubt that, right? I think that they do that to, like I said, have the most competitive team they can have year in and year out. But I don't, I'm not astounded by the amount of money. I'm astounded by the Mets' willingness to pay the tax, frankly. But I mean, that's their business. They can do whatever they want. These other clubs that are out there being aggressive in the market, they must have figured out a way that they can have a competitive team. And, the window for you to have a competitive team, that's not all the time. And that's not open for a long period of time. So you got to assess, when you're in a position to go and what is it going to take for you to get there, to get to the promised land, to get the championship. And then, you got to plan accordingly. So, I think it's it's certainly good for the players. Certainly good for the players, right? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, revenue sharing is being doled out to the players, I think.
No doubt about that.
Huh?
No doubt about that the players are winning, as Charlie Sheen once said. Hey, Dan, do appreciate your time. Great to catch up with you. You got a great office you're working there with and a great background. And let's not be strangers.
I got this great letter from my Earl Weaver, right?
Well, let's see that.
Earl Weaver sent me this letter.
Only on YouTube can you see this, folks.
Yeah, Earl Weaver sent me this letter when I got the job, congratulating me. So that's one of my prize That's one of my prized things.
Any cuss words in there? Because we can't zoom in.
Yeah.
No, I was just starting.
Kept it clean.
Earl's a big league cusser, though, wasn't he? Yeah. He's a Hall of Famer in many, many ways. He can cuss with the best of them.
Dan, as always, we appreciate you taking your valuable time. Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
Great
thanks a
catching
lot.
up,
Good
Dan.
to see you guys. All right. Say
You
hi to
too,
your
brother.
family, Adam. Good to catch up.
We'll do.
All right. Now, Adam, I messed up on a follow-up there with this mental coach that you didn't like that he brought in. Can you give us the nutshell version of that? He was great, by the way. Duquette was great.
Because I think the story about him, like we wore him out. He was a very nice guy, but we wore him out, and then a case happened in the military at the time, and we like brought it to his attention, and we're just like, what's going on? And like he worked with the military also, and then
so you forced him to quit?
No, I didn't force him to quit at all by any stretch. No, I just had a lot of questions for him, and my questions were based on because he worked with the military. My dad, my brother, military. So my questions to him were like, what's going on with the military, because it was stories coming out of multiple military people committing suicide at this time, and I'm like, what's going on? No, we had a great relationship, me and the guy, but I just had so many questions, like and we got into real depths. Real depths.
All right, too deep for me, that's for sure. Well, it's been another wild MLB offseason, and it continues, and it will continue, except during the holidays, because no executive really wants to make a deal during Christmas or New Year's unless there's a deal they can't pass up. But over $2 billion already spent on free agency, which brings us to our debate time, our Jerry versus Jones debate. With that, we bring in the Honorable All Rise for Judge Reggie Fugit.
All right. Welcome.
I'm not getting
Who got a promotion?
Hey, you know what?
Stop telling your business, huh?
Yeah, I'm promoted to being the honorable. Thanks, Jerry. Again, this is the Jerry versus Jones debate. I am Reginald Fugit, your judge presiding. We got a great topic to discuss. We've seen some massive free agent deals signed in this recent offseason, but specifically, we will be debating baseball's love affair for the long-term deal. And if they ever work, do teams get the benefit of the player playing the contract out, or do the players get the benefit? We have Jerry arguing for the players getting the benefit in terms of he does not agree with the long-term deals.
Not at all.
And Adam will be taking the other side. Jerry, you were the winner last week. You are the first word. You got the first word. Go for it.
Shoot, Jerry.
All right, this caught my ire with the 11-year contract that the Padres foolishly gave to former Red Sox Xander Bogaerts. The free spending in San Diego, just the latest example of bad long-term deals that will end up in disaster. Winston Churchill said infamously, those that fail to learn from history, and I got to read this because I don't remember the quote, are doomed to repeat it. And he is right, because no Major League Baseball team seems to learn. It's always the same script, almost always. Typically, you sign one of these guys, typically one of two things occur when the deal gets done. Eventually, the player diminishes, and the club either is forced to buy him out or have another team pay for his salary as they try and trade him, or they just dump his salary altogether. The last 5 to 6 years of these deals are problematic. Most of the GMs, I don't know if it's them making the decision or the owner, but you pay a couple of guys a boatload of money, the wrong guys, and it can cripple a franchise. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about the Orioles with Chris Davis. We did that with Dan Duquette, Miguel Cabrera. He's a prime example. This Bogaerts deal. I don't even know what the heck they're doing in San Diego, where they collect shortstops like I collect used change. Basically, they've now picked up 3 shortstops. They can only use one. They've overpaid Machado, Tatis, and now Bogaerts. So it is ridiculous, the money. And at some point, there's going to be a ceiling. But the Padres, I smell it. It's a smell of desperation for falling short once again.
All right, Adam, go for it. What do you got?
First off, shut the hell up on Machado. Let's just start with that. Don't ever bring that up again. Okay, you kidding me? The kid's underpaid. Look at underpaid. You're talking about shortstops. Buck always said draft shortstops. Why? Shortstops are the best player position, most athletic player on the team. Generally, if your high school shortstop is probably the best player in your team. And what can a shortstop do? What did I do? What did I do? I went out to center, and I became solid out there. What did Sean Dunston, and the list goes on, generally black dudes out of Latin State in the infield. Look at Gerald. It's all about marketing, Gerald. You know what I mean? 11-year contract for Bogarts. That's a long-term deal. That's long. That's very, very long. And especially being 29, 30. It's like
41. 41.
Exactly.
I'll do the math for you.
Exactly. The reality of it is the Padres' window to win is 3 years. And the window started at I think the window was 2020 was this year. This was their first real window. To Dodgers, last year at 2021, I think they were solid. The COVID year, I think they were solid. No, long-term deals are about 4 to 5 years of can we in this short term get this done, especially when they're 8, 9, 10 years. Mine was 6. Okay, look, I'm 25. You took me 26 to 33. That's fine. When you sign a free agent to this long-term deal, that's saying, look, I'm building around you. I want to win now, especially with you got. What do you do with Tatis? Long-term deals are marketing, solely marketing, and it's telling your fan base, look, I'm an owner, I'm a billionaire. Seidler's legit too. Met him in Philly, legit. He's telling these fans, we have a window. I'm going after it. I don't care what you say. I'm going after it. It's not about the 11 years. No one looks at year 11. Nobody. Miguel Cabrera, that's a perfect example. No one's looking at year 11. But year 1 through 5 of that deal, everybody thought Detroit was going to win it because they built around it.
So Adam, you're saying,
and it's not a waste of money because especially with these owners, you mean to tell me that Little Caesar stopped selling pizza?
No, they're not going broke, but they are.
They got enough money. They got enough pizza to sell to buy Miguel Cabrera. It's not a waste of money. These owners make residual. Gerald, I know you know what residual is. Then it's not a waste of money.
Okay.
To us, it is. To Cohen, Cohen's spending too much money. To you, he is. To him, it's like
a way to do business. What has it resulted in? How many?
All right, Jerry. Yeah, you're on the clock. Jerry, you go for it.
Again, Xander Bogaerts 11 years, Trey Turner 11 years, Tatis 14 years. Julio Rodriguez, 13 years. Okay, he's a rookie.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. I don't get that contract myself.
Mike Trout. We've talked about this in the past. He got that multi-year deal. Albert Pujols. They give him away like candy out there in California and Los Angeles, Anaheim, whatever. It doesn't result in titles. That's the bottom line. Aaron Judge hasn't won a world championship with the Yankees, and he just got overpaid.
Yeah, I got no. I'm not against you on that.
Hey, I will say
it's about marketing.
Your union is excellent, and they beat the crap out of the owners every year.
100%. Well, I don't think they beat the crap out of the owners. I think the owners are doing pretty good themselves in order to be able to pay such overpaid contracts as you think. Players, it's about value. And when it comes to value, who's to say what it is? Look at the housing market. It went from $1 million houses, the same house that was a $1 million house, that right now is 2.3. Is it worth that? Hell no. But people are paying it.
So we'll clarify
it's what
for this,
you pay.
For the rebuttal segment, we'll clarify and we'll let Adam continue on this dovetail. The value part, I thought that was really interesting. So, Adam, you were saying that it's about the 5 or 6 years of an 11-year contract.
Yes, the first 5, 6.
That the owners will make the money back on the player in the first 5 or 6 years, regardless of if they play or not? Or, and then I'll let you get the last word, Jerry, in terms of whether or not you think the owners are, writing that off because they're only playing half of the long-term deal. Okay, Adam, go for it.
I think they really do. In certain cases are different. Judge fits that market. That's Judge's market. Judge is going to make probably the same amount of money off the field as he is on the field. But when it comes to a Pujols entered a market that's Mike Trout's market, and he entered a big contract. He entered a 3-time MVP. So therefore, his sales went just as well as everybody else. But for the Anaheim's window when they got him was the first 3 or 4 years. Like when I first came up, Anaheim was winning the West. And then they start to stink. They got a little bit better with Weaver. Weaver just was a stud his whole time, but they started to get better. And then when they signed Pujols, it was like a sign that, okay, we want to win. They had C.J. Wilson, but the only thing they just had Weaver and Wilson. After that, we know they never had the pitching. But these teams, they understand that, look, we have a short window to win. and especially a Padres team, if they don't win in the next 3 years, it's a fire sale. Let's just be honest with ourselves. It's a fire sale. They can't sustain that because the second that they don't win and the Dodgers reclaim that and the Padres go not a playoff team, I know San Diego's my town, they're going to be like, damn, deuces. So,
all right. We got you, Adam. Jerry, fast final word
All
here,
right,
and
I'll
I
just
will give
say
the
this.
verdict.
It's a crazy way to run a business. It really is. And I understand professional sports is not like any other business, so it's hard to make the analogies. But you're tossing money into the wind. Sign them for $5 or $6, overpay them for that span, and let it move on. You don't sign them for 11 years and have to pay the guy like they do Bobby Bonilla every July 1st. Those type of things are ridiculous and don't seem to occur in any other sport.
All right.
One last thing, Reggie. I'm sorry, Judge. I mean, hey, it's always one last thing.
Where's the gavel?
You never go to, he ain't using it. You ever see, what's this saying that people don't, like the teacher at the business school, does he have a business? He's just teaching
That's
how
why
to
he teaches.
He teaches how to own a business. Go teach somebody that, no, I'm not hating on teachers. I love teachers. Teachers are awesome. But a business school teacher generally doesn't own a business.
All right.
Go to the billionaires. They know what the hell they're doing. They don't spend money for no reason.
The judge has a verdict in this Jerry versus Jones debate. The verdict goes to Adam Jones.
What?
And the reason is because there's clearly a market for it. If not, they wouldn't be doing it. Again, a lot of unknowns, obviously under the hood that we don't know about. But ultimately, Adam takes the cake. All right, guys. Great debate.
Appreciate it. But then, I mean, we can keep going. We can keep going about long-term deals because there's good, the bad, and the ugly of long-term deals.
All right,
it's
guys.
generally bad and ugly, but I get it.
We're done here. All right, time to talk a little bit about the Ravens. We've done an awful lot of talking about the baby birds, but our For the Birds segment, of course, brought to you by our friends at BeMoreAroundTown.com. Let's talk about the Ravens and how you feel about this team right now as they come off a big win last weekend as they continue their AFC North tour after beating Pittsburgh for the first time since 2019. It's on to Cleveland, but they're now using 3 different quarterbacks. Lamar's going to be hurt for a little bit. We don't know about Tyler Huntley until game day or closer. And then you have Anthony Brown come in. I'm sure you had to look up his background. But they do get their running backs back in terms of J.K. Dobbins. His knee seems to be working fine. And Gus Edwards. And that's their bread and butter, AJ. So how do you feel about this team? They're running the ball and playing very solid defense.
And that is the Ravens recipe. The Ravens recipe has rarely been the quarterback play. You've just been spoiled by having a fantastic quarterback. And now your true strengths are being shown. Anthony Brown, if you know he is if you watch college football. And undrafted guy, first play gets in, he's in the trenches. That's football. I watched Quadri Jamel's post game on TV, and he just was like, "That's Ravens football." You scratch and claw, and the defense played great. Dobbins is back, good to have him back, and they pounded the game. They pounded the ball, and they played the game they needed to play in order to beat them. Obviously, they couldn't throw the ball 30 times. That's just not how it would have worked out for them. But it worked out tremendously, pounding the ground. So let your defense. You got a fantastic defense. I mean, it's so fun watching Smith and Queen play together. They both just they roam, so they don't even. Who knows where they're going to be at? And it's watching them play together. That was a fantastic trade. So that defense just shows it's a strength. Again, it's not going against the greatest offense, but not diminishing anything. It's the NFL offense, and they played great. So hopefully you can get Lamar Jackson. We don't know the status. We don't know Huntley's status going forward for the next week, but they're 6-1 in the last 7 games. Tip your cap. They're playing good football. Bengals are playing great football also, and they keep winning. So hopefully it's another week or 2 for Mr. Jackson, and he can get back on the field.
9-4, headed in the right direction, and hopefully they'll have them back by the time they have to visit Cincinnati before that season's over. All right, somebody grab some Jack Daniels. It's time for Adam's weekly rant. It's titled Heckle D's. Adam, the holidays are here. I see the Christmas trees being sold over at our favorite gas station, Valley Exxon. Shout out Mike and Tim Reuter there at Joplin and Falls Road. But there's always something to rant about. And this week it happens to be about being first instead of being correct?
It's the media. Media has some sort of just love affair with being love affair with being first. Denzel said it's not about being right anymore. It's about being first. It's about clicks. Come on. In today's era, we have enough information to get things correct. Let's not just put out information for clicks. The bigger the name, the bigger the people, the bigger the following, the more people are going to believe. That's why these big social media accounts that have this misinformation, that's why they thrive, and people thrive on just listening to false information all day because these big people and they have these accounts. Let's just get things right.
And
it's
this
okay.
would be John Heyman real quickly saying,
I mean, it's not necessarily him. And I mean, I love John. I mean, John has made mistakes just like everybody else. Jerry, you ain't perfect. You act like you walk around perfect. You walk around.
No, I delete the tweet. I try to delete it as quickly as possible.
But Heyman's followed by 700,000 people probably. So it's as soon as he tweets, it's followed. And you know, with a lot of people in just the media industry, just especially with sports, you have fan bases that will sometimes harm you for information and like if it's wrong, and for players. And you know, I'm in Europe right now, and I'm just Qatar right now. So if certain things might happen and be harmful for you on other sides of the world if you spread wrong information. So especially with sports, you know, and the other stuff is that political stuff, that's a completely different ballpark. But it's about just take your time, take your due diligence. You have the resources. You can call every GM, call every owner, call presidents of operations. They're in your phone. Their obligation is to speak with you. That just is what it is. It sucks. You always say, who leaked this? They leaked it. The team leaked it. That's how it works. They work together. But just get the damn information correct, okay? Because you don't want tweets and fan bases going nuts and wild just because you said, oh, he's going here, but that deal's not even done. And trust me, I did it before too. Remember when I said Dexter Fowler's bringing his ass to Baltimore?
Yeah.
Remember when I did that? Remember when I did that? You remember when I did that? I did. And I thought I was an insider. I'm texting him, and his ass stayed in Chicago, which turned out being a lot better for him long term. We won a championship and got paid, but it made me look like a jackass. So just get it right. And
I'm just saying,
you didn't see me do anything ever since.
You talk about arson and things get fired up. Arson Judge. All right. AJ's Rant is always brought to you by Jack Daniels. Adam mentioned he's in Qatar, and I'll just say Jack Daniels has always made whiskey. If they have it their way, they'll always will. There's one thing Jack can't make more of. Those are moments. Those are on us to create. Let's make sure we're making the most of every moment we have. Make it count, Jack Daniels. Where's the JD bottle? Hey,
I ain't found one liquor store here. And I ain't trying to go look for one, and I ain't trying to find one out of somebody's trunk, and I ain't trying to go to jail. So, You know what?
That's a good transition as we head beyond Baltimore. Adam continues his worldwide extravaganza. Where are you this week? Where have you been this past week? I know you're in Qatar right now without the Jack Daniels, just for legal purposes. You may sneak a sip in here or there. We're just not going to let anyone know where.
Yeah. I was in the Maldives the whole week. The family.
What a place.
We were. And I took a couple of tennis lessons.
Does that mean we're going to finally play?
We'll wait. We'll get it. We'll get out there next time in Baltimore. We'll get out to Woodhome. I know you want to go out to Woodhome. I know.
Yeah. No, or Suburban. One of the country clubs.
But no, we need to get out there. And but no, I'm just learning, and I like paddle a little bit more because I can't move like I used to. But it was fantastic. It was really good. I sweated my ass off. It was nice, just really good lather to move and get the heart rate going up. But no, it was fantastic. I think maybe doubles might be in my future. Singles a little hard.
Do.
Yeah, doubles might be in my future. But now I'm in Qatar. Obviously, you see, I'm here for the World Cup. And,
don't forget to bring home a hat from England for the big boss. All right.
I will. Be attending the semifinals. I got my tickets. I'm extremely happy, and I'm just trying to see everything. And this is bucket list things, and I'm on this side of the world, so might as well come see it and try to eat as much Middle Eastern food as I can because I absolutely love it. So I'm just going to have a fantastic time out here, explore it, meet the people, and just, overall have a good time. And this is what life's about. This is what I sacrificed my body for. And I golfed out here, Education City Golf Club, shot 85. I'm going to play again and see if I can beat that.
And 85, did anyone keep score besides you?
I kept my score. The guys with me kept my score. It was a real score. And, hey, we can verify. We can come out and play with me, Gerald. And, hey.
I don't play golf. I only play one of the country club sports.
Oh, yeah. So, hey, man, play multiple sports. They offer a lot of things, okay? Just don't go play tennis and then go have a bunch of gin and tonics, okay, Jerry? Okay.
I don't drink
Jack or Jack.
Jack Daniels after I play.
According to you.
Duh. All right, hey. You'll tell us more about Qatar next week. Can't wait to hear about it. If you guys are enjoying this podcast as much as we're doing it, make sure to check out the Baltimore Banner. They're covering the Ravens, Terps, and Orioles, along with all the Baltimore news across the region. Check out our special for our Adam Jones podcast, 6 months, unlimited digital access for just $1. Just visit thebaltimorebanner.com/AJ. All right, time now to salute our Baltimore Banner Varsity Sports Network Athlete of the Week. It's Amourie Porter from Glen Burnie Girls Basketball. During a battle between two Anne Arundel County teams ranked in the top 10 of the Baltimore Banner Varsity Sports Network Girls Basketball Top 15, Porter, all she did is score 24 to lead number 6 Glen Burnie to a win against number 8 Old Mill in the Anne Arundel County League opener for both teams. Basketball is underway. Porter, a guard who will next play her collegiate ball at Cal State Fullerton.
Yes.
Started with 30 points. So congratulations to Amourie Porter from Glen Burnie Girls Basketball, Adam.
Oh, I'm so happy. Well, first off, congratulations on all the accolades, young lady. But I'm so happy. I always tell people they need to go as far as they can away from home when they go to college. And she's going to Fullerton. She's going to a very nice college town. But there's a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in Long Beach, not too far away. San Diego's close. San Clemente's close. LA, if you want to be promiscuous, is close. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy that she is going west. She's going to experience weather. She's not going to want to go back. This is a win. This is a win. This is a win. I'm so happy that a East Coast person is going. A Marylander is going to my home state, California. I'll be an hour south in Rancho Santa Fe. Oh, I'm just so happy. Congratulations on the accolades on the court, but I'm happy for the lifestyle change that you're about to experience.
Way to go.
Don't get in the skateboard, no. Leave those skateboarders alone.
Going, baby. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number.
All right, now we'll deliver our final segment. It's called Socially Speaking. This is where we answer a tweet or a social media post, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and that's where you can find us at Adam Jones Pod. On all three, again, at Adam Jones Pod. We also have an email address for you that may be socially media challenged, adamjonespod@gmail.com. All right, this is from at Doug_Gesselman on our soccer talk last week with Trevor. After watching the World Cup, guys, I'd like to see less calls, let them play, only a call, a few penalties a game, maybe allow coaches to throw a flag for penalty review, but something to keep the tempo higher and less interruption. Agree or disagree?
I mean, everybody would like to see something. I'd like to see world peace. I'd like to see a lot of there's a lot of things I'd like to see. I mean, everybody would like to see something. Sit your ass down and have a beer. I'd like to see you have 2 more. I mean, I think the games have been great. Being here in Qatar and talking to people the last few days, it's been great. Their temperament, they've just said that this has been just the greatest event. The games have been crazy. They've obviously designated certain areas for consumption of alcohol. Obviously, you can't. They want to still be respectful to their religion, which I highly respect. But it's been fantastic. If that's what you're complaining about, come on, man, shut up. That's the part. People complain about this. Like, come on, you complain about that. The game's been great. And to be honest with you, I think the greatest parts about all the games about the majority, especially the teams now, have been the extra time. So while you're complaining that, where they're sitting there boo-hooing, the greatest goals of the World Cup have been scored with 15, 20 seconds left in additional time. Like, come on, man. What? It's not, now you complain about baseball being over 3 hours. Now you're complaining about the World Cup having 12 extra minutes.
All right, again, on social media is where you can reach us at Adam Jones Pod. As always, we want to thank our loyal sponsors, Jack Daniels. There's lots of ways to make whiskey. There's only one way to make Jack Daniels. Make it count. Please drink responsibly, Jack Daniels. By Be More Around Town, they've got the ultimate all-inclusive pregame purple tailgate experience before every home and away game. That includes Cleveland. That includes Pittsburgh. Head to BeMoreAroundTown.com. By the good folks at the Wyman Group, always appreciate their support. G-Leaf Medical Cannabis, head to gleaf.com. Medical cannabis for qualified Maryland patients only. And the Baltimore Banner, reminder, visit thebaltimorebanner.com/AJ. Get 6 months unlimited digital access for just $1. We've got to thank our senior executive producer. He turned 78 this week. Chip Franklin, thank you for putting this episode together. Go out, be safe, be kind, be real, and we'll see you next week.